Good day, and welcome to another episode of Agent X11, Hollywood Dark Journalist, another light in this darkened world. I'm your host, Penny L.A. Shepherd, and I am Agent X11. My co-hosts are David Zublik, Heather Day, Joan Renee, Skip Press, Chris Montgomery, Terry Bradley, Katie Bradley, Tom Outhouse, Jessica Garza, Howard Lamson, Dr. Keith Pablo, and TJ Ward.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
Agent X11, Hollywood Dark Journalist, begins now. And welcome to another episode of Agent X11, Hollywood Dark Journalist. My name is Penny L.A. Shepherd, and I am Agent X11. Boy, I've learned that whole little thing. It took me like 2 years to be able to put that together. I'm hearing a little squelch, so if everyone can mute themselves so I can figure out who's squelching. And there we go. And the squelch is gone. This is Brian Singh Presents. And Brian Singh, I put you in the middle. And this segment is actually Dr. U's Universe. Steve Sanchez usually joins us, but I think he's not going to be able to make it. So I filled in a little video from the Y Files, which we'll be playing. Why? And that's why we asked Dr. U here. Why, Dr. U? And the Y Files is going to be talking about Tesla. Dr. U, you just went to a conference, and I think we're going to be talking a little bit about that. But before I play your intro, can you just tell us a little bit about that conference and, what transpired at it? And we can't hear you for some reason.
Thank you for reminding me. I put it on mute. So I went to the conference on March 4th. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. The conference on March 4th held at Tallahassee, sponsored. This is about the magnetics and the electrical motor and motor driving system. So that's the conference. And when it's an international conference, most of the guest speakers and the invited vendors from Germany, British, Swedish, or something, those people. So this conference held at Tallahassee, the capital of Florida. One of the reasons is United States or in the world the biggest called a high magnetic national magnetic field laboratory. That's a government national laboratory sponsor, located at the Florida State University inside of Tallahassee, in Tallahassee. So this is the laboratory, national laboratory are the main sponsor. also include the Space Florida. They try to attract whoever working on the rare earth magnets. We have an alliance, right? International, yes, and also research. So they welcome the bring business and do research with them. So I was invited as the first keynote speaker. Yeah. And I believe there's a Florida state of official, state official, because they want to attract a business, right? And also Florida State University and the laboratory and the national laboratory official, some kind attending. I feel very fortunate.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're going to elaborate on that a little bit more. Brian Bowden, thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for kidnapping me.
My pleasure. It's always, I was kidnapped by MS-13 once. It was a nice kidnapping. They hardly used any duct tape.
That's good. Use your mark.
So, it was in Branson, actually. It actually really happened,
really?
Unfortunately. Yes, it did.
Sorry.
So for now, we'll be talking about Dr. Yu's universe, and I'm going to play this theme since I created it. I'm going to make y'all listen to it. Here we go.
Woo, ooh, it's Dr. Yu. Woo, ooh, it's Dr. Yu. Woo, ooh, it's Dr. Yu. Dr. Yu's universe. Yeah. Spin on a cosmic ride. No up, no down, no left, no right. Dr. Yu's got stars inside. We welcome you to Dr. Yu's universe, where planets sing and comets dance. Tune into you. He's broadcasting from a cosmic trance. It's Dr. Yu. Welcome to Dr. Yu's universe. Whoa. We all strangers in a strange land. Whoa. In the universe of stars and sand, where everything exists but not. Get ready to shout. Whoa. Ooh, it's Dr. Yu. It's Dr. Yu. It's Dr. Yu. Dr. Yu's universe. Yeah. Nothing is what you thought you'd find. Get ready to adjust your mind. Forget all that you have read. Get maximum room, make space in your head. Welcome to Dr. Yu's universe, where time does not exist. Listen to Dr. Yu. He's phoning in from Earth number 2. Yeah, he's calling from the cosmos just for you.
That just makes me happy. Dr. Yu,
Okay.
What do you know about Tesla?
So one is the genius, the inventor, the father of the electrical modern society. So that's the Nikola Tesla. That's one thing. I believe you are not talking about the Tesla motor, right? Tesla.
No, no. Actually, you got the right one. Brian Singh, what do you know about Nikolai?
Well, he was very involved with what led into the Philadelphia project.
Yes.
And that was where the U.S. Navy in 1943 took the USS Eldridge, and some people say it wasn't just once, but several times they took this naval class destroyer ship, put a Tesla generator, one on each end, the front, the bow, and the aft of the ship, and they fired them up with sailors on board. And to his credit, Nikola Tesla and I believe it was another U.S. scientist, they pulled out of the experiment beforehand because they warned the military that it would not be safe for humans. And indeed, there are famous photos circulating around the internet, for decades now, showing naval sailors who are like merged into the hull of this ship, and it's horrifying. Apparently, that was a really terrible way for these men to die, and and what that experiment did is, supposedly it was to achieve radar invisibility, but at least on one of the occasions when they cranked up the Tesla generators, it not only made them go invisible, it's because it warped them of the out of the area. They went to like Norfolk, Virginia, from Philadelphia to Norfolk, Virginia, I think it was, and then they might have even warped over to Montauk area, but I'm not sure. Okay, because they were jumping around a bit in time and space, and apparently this caused a major rift, a hole in our timeline. It's not good. And just like in the Marvel movies, they show these things called incursions, and apparently
Right.
that can be an issue if you tear into reality too much. And then that's why people are concerned about CERN these days, putting so much energy into the environment and atmosphere through their Large Hadron Collider. And
So an event like that,
Yeah.
Brian, could that still, even though it took place a while ago, could that still have an impact on our future?
yeah, apparently that's when they discovered that Earth has a natural time rhythm of about 20 years. And so that then leads into why, with a lot of these secret space programs and the super soldier projects, when they kidnap people, they tend to be, at least originally, in increments of 20 years and back. It's because that natural time frequency of Earth. And so, yes, apparently that rift is still there. It's not good. And it's going to take a lot of work to repair, and it's probably beyond human level ability at this point.
Maybe ET ability, because there's a gentleman that knows Drew, who we had Drew Banky on our show, and the gentleman's name is Bledsoe, Chris Bledsoe, and he's been saying that since I think 2022, that when Israel and Iran exchange missiles, that there will be orbs that will come out of the earth. And I believe he said that they would reveal themselves in April. We're now in March, and Israel and Iran are heavily hitting one another, trying to kill one another. And so the possibility that the ETs will make themselves prevalent is very real. Brian Bowden, want to ask you the same question about Tesla, but go ahead and comment.
Well, I just want to comment a little bit off of what Brian was saying. So there's theories, and then there's reality. And when I'm sure Dr. you knows all about it, because that's what physics and quantum entanglement and everything is trying to decipher between reality and what's really going on. So there's a theory that when they did this experiment, again, like giving a hairpin trigger firearm to a 2-year-old, they don't know what's going to happen. Not only did it create this rift, but it's not only in one timeline, it's several timelines that surround us. And when these timelines slowly will heal themselves, but when I talk about slowly, you could be 1 billion years. When things go back into order that are supposed to be, there's still going to be a little bit of a hole there. It's kind of like breaking your mother's vase when you're not supposed to evolve.
It doesn't really work all that good.
Yeah, and you try to glue it back together again. Yeah, it may look like it's together, but there are these little holes still there. And the problem was that when you get caught in these different timelines, when the same event's happening in multiple timelines at the same time, which we believe happens, there may be a good timeline, an evil timeline, a so-so timeline. This is where, when the timelines come back and they're not, it's unexpected. Some people actually that were in one area of the ship are now in 2 areas of the ship, because when the particles come back together again, there were people embedded in the floor, in the walls, in the ceiling, because that's how it came back together again. And
Like a bad episode of Star Trek.
Right. And then when Brian was mentioning the collider, we already know that they create these mini black holes or portals. There are people who have come out and said it, but the whole concept of the Mandela effect started when Fermilab in Chicago first went online. It ramped up, they turned it on, and as quick as they turned it on, they shut it down. And from that point forward, it was a paranormal researcher, Fiona Broom, who said, I thought Mandela was dead. And there's
Right.
your Mandela effect. Because we're getting our timeline, this is A, and we're getting the first half of A, but once that burst happens, that big energy, and it comes back together again, we're getting the other half of timeline B next to us. So now we remember the cornucopia because we're of a certain age, but people after the 90s don't know what a cornucopia is because it's not there anymore. And the reverse is taking place in another timeline. They're like, when did we get a cornucopia? So they didn't have it, and now they have it. It's part of these principles.
And Penny, if
Well-
I can share my screen, I'll pull up some photos of these sailors here. I've got them up. And I think I call it the Philadelphia
Actually,
Project,
you have
Philadelphia
us-
Experiment.
You actually have us on the screen. There we go.
Okay, right.
Okay.
So you can see mine now? Okay.
Yes.
So right here, you've got this is a depiction. This is reenactments right here. It's kind of funny. The black and white ones these are I think coming from a documentary. This is real. I'm told this is very real. Here's a sailor who's fused into the hull of the ship. I'm told that this one is real as well.
Wow.
Okay, these other ones that you're seeing on the screen aren't real, but this one is real. This is fake, right? That looked like an AI generation. But those two, and then that would be the USS Eldridge there. And so it's a Philadelphia Experiment. I think I incorrectly called it the Philadelphia Project. Oops. But yes,
Right.
those two are indeed apparently real. And then when we went to Montauk Camp Hero Air Force Base for the 2023 Montauk Adventure Tour. It was the 80th anniversary. So there's your 20-year cycles, right? The 80th anniversary from 1943. And we went for August 12th was apparently one of the times that the ship got fired up. Although I think, officially it might be November. That's where I think there might have been at least more than one time that they did this experiment. And then with that last one there, being terrible for the sailors.
Yeah, we have no idea all the experiments that have been done. I even have an individual who clones. His name is Panos Zavos on our show, and he's a very ethical individual. But we know that there are experiments that are being conducted that one hand in the CIA does not know what the other hand is doing. Joan Renee, what do you know about Tesla? Do you know anything about Tesla and our current president?
Cannot hear you.
Oh, you're muted, Jem.
Can you hear us?
You had us all muted now. Okay. His father, John, apparently was
Uncle.
knew Tesla and was
Is
involved
Uncle
in-
John G. Trump.
John Trump, yeah. And I think the other thing, when Brian was talking about the experiment, one of the things that crossed my mind is you look at the ship, it's intact. The sailors are embedded. Why wasn't everything jumbled? And the only thing I can think of is the sailors were they allowed to move when this was happening?
Yes.
Is that what caused the embedment?
It was they were able to move, and it was the ship didn't move because it's not alive and inorganic matter, and then the sailors, because people are multidimensional, they're able to move and also think, and then so they were moving, and then they were marveling at apparently would have been how they can pass through the hull of the ship, and then if the ship comes out of warp and you're still interconnected with the ship, then you're in
wow.
trouble.
Yeah.
So I have
That's what
another
happened.
question. Another question is when it became 3D again. Were those sailors embedded? Were they still alive? They were.
Yes,
That would have
and it
been
was very
horrifying.
painful and horrifying. And then they were alive for a little bit and then died.
Oh, wow.
It depends on how much they were in the hull of the ship. Like apparently we had psychics with us, and they were during the 2023 Montauk Adventure Tour. They went out. They chartered a boat
Mhm.
with Bob Estes and Gary Fretz, two wonderful supporters. Bob Estes of the early space and rocketry industry, and a team of them were on the water, and some of the psychically active people on that team, they were connecting with the sailors psychically, and one of them, or several, they were connecting in particular with the sailor who his left eye, I think, was embedded in the hull, and it was very, very painful. And
Yeah.
imagine being locked in a time-space rip with your eye embedded in the hull of a ship, and you're stuck there. And so this is, it's really messed up that these experiments in time and space are not good, and they're what led to the U.S. government moving this stuff over to Brookhaven National Laboratory on the middle of Long Island, New York, and then later on from there going all the way to the end to Camp Hero Air Force Base with a Montauk Trip Chair and the experimentations on all the children.
The Montauk Trip Chair, what's that?
So at Camp Hero Air Force Base, what they did is, because they were finding, wow, there's something to these Tesla generators and tearing holes in time and space, they combined what looks like whatever technologies, like that Tesla technology they could cobble together, combined with something known as a Montauk Trip Chair, which apparently was a recovered pilot's chair from a downed UFO, possibly one of the Roswell crash sites. And
Okay.
because the ETs, when they pilot their ships, they don't use a stick and rudder. They're using their minds, telepathy. And so it's found that the Montauk Trip Chair, this pilot's chair out of a UFO, it magnifies psychic abilities. And then through things like the GATE and talented programs, gifted and talented education, these programs through American schools across the country, they were finding children who were psychically gifted, and then they would kidnap some of them, a proportion of them, all the way to Camp Hero Air Force Base underground, where they had the Montauk Trip Chair in one of the bunkers, strap the children into it, and then Montauk 1.0, many of my fellow researchers, whistleblowers, and we call it Montauk 1.0. That's when they were first experimenting, strapping the children who were psychic into the chair to figure out what they could do. And the main thing that they were trying to do is open up portals in time and space, just like the Philadelphia Project experiment. And then, and that was a really horrible trial and error process where many hundreds, if not thousands, of children died, because if you were strapped in this chair and you tried to do such dangerous things and you failed, there was a good chance you died, and many did. Montauk 2.0 is where they finally had a handful of these children. Yes, they can open up portals in time and space and send people through them and come back. And that's when they began messing with our timeline. And that's where I believe a lot of, and CERN as well, but a lot of these Mandela effects may come from, is the changes they were doing in our timeline to put us on a more negative downward trajectory for humanity rather than an upward trajectory. And then Montauk 3.0 would be kind of like when Junior came along. He was a monster summoned by one of the tortured children and strapped into the chair, cleaned out the base, and then they relocated the projects to places like New Orleans and other places around the world, like Pine Gap, Australia. And then these Air Force these underground bases and projects, they've all been running in tandem. And in the popular meme, I think we kind of glommed it all as the Montauk Project, but don't assume it all just happened there at Camp Hero Air Force Base. It's happening all over.
You just blew my mind again. One of these kids conjured up something that destroyed everything. Now,
yeah,
can you
because
explain that?
because when they were putting these children into the chair one by one and giving them instructions, okay,
Mhm.
open up a portal in time and space, or summon a pallet of gold bars. Okay, one of these children, it might have been Chris Leterrier. He's a French Canadian who was part of the project. It might have been him. It might have been another child, but they were strapped in the chair and they figured out, wow, if I can open up portals, summon up whatever I want, why don't I summon up a monster to take out our tormentors? And so whoever it was, apparently they summoned something in common lore research is referred to as Junior. And Junior is kind of like an energy monster akin to what is shown in the 1954 movie The Forbidden Planet. Okay, where
Oh,
there's an ET civilization that has such powerful advanced technology that they can take thought forms and then turn them into real life 3D, right? 3D things. And so that being apparently still haunts Montauk to this day. It never hurt any of the children. It only hurt and killed many of the tormentors, chased them off the base. And to this day, apparently there is a VHS tape out there, might have gotten circulated now on the dark web, the video clip of it's like a song being played or something while one of the Montauk children is being tortured. And if you play that recording, you can apparently summon Junior, because
Through a
Junior will
frequency.
appear to protect the children who are being tortured and is tied to these frequencies.
that's that
Yeah, that's what they did in
yeah,
Stranger Things, Joan.
yeah. There's one more thing, because you're hitting on something that I've known intuitively,
Hmm.
and that's thought forms.
Yeah.
When we think, we can create an image that can be perceived by someone else. The more people that focus on the same image, the more powerful it gets.
Yes.
Now, what
Yes.
you're saying
That's
is
called an
that
egregore. It starts from being a tulpa to becoming an egregore, a thought form that
so
becomes
literally we
manifest.
can create our own demons is basically what that amounts to, or whatever you want to call them, but we can create these things with our minds. They exist in perception.
Or create or
In other
connect
words,
to. Because
pardon?
because it could create a whole at a whole cloth, like you're saying in one way, Joan,
Mhm.
or another way of looking at it is connecting to these things and beings that already exist elsewhere, somewhere, and then just
Mhm.
manifesting them and connecting and bring them over here. Instead of saying we're going to generate them necessarily, you could perhaps out of, blank nothing, whole cloth from you. Or you might, another way of conceptualizing it is Junior, the psychic Sasquatch energy monster, existed somewhere else, and then the child connected with that being and brought him through. Because according to the testimony of Chris Leterrier, because this is a really good point that we're touching on here that you raised, Joan,
Mhm.
through this line of what Chris Leterrier recalls is he recalls growing up watching Hanna-Barbera cartoons. And where you've got like the Wolfman and you've got the
Mhm.
mummy wrapped up, and you had
Right.
Dracula with like the cloak and the fangs, and the Bride of Frankenstein, and there might have been another one or two. Okay. And what, according to Chris Leterrier's testimony, what he recalls is when he was strapped into the chair by Preston Nichols, and he had a mask
Mhm.
put over his face with Blue Lotus in it, because he asked him, "What is this?" He said, "It's Blue Lotus flower. It's just to make you more psychic," or whatever. They kind of showed us in Batman too, actually, the one movie, Batman Begins, and left him there strapped for a while and said, first we want you to do the experiment, which was they told him to go into trance mode, open up a portal in the astral, go through the portal, and then explore. And this apparently was very dangerous. Many of the other children had already died doing this because they were able to open up the portal, they go through the portal, and then they lose
come
connection. The
back.
portal would close. That would sever the astral connection, and they would die. Okay. Well, apparently, per Chris's testimony, he recalls doing that, coming back, and when he came back through the portal in the astral and into his physical body and awoke in the physical, strapped to the chair, Jack Pruitt, Al Bielek, Preston Nichols, none of them were there. So he's just sitting there in the chair. And then that's when he imagined a portal on the wall opened up. And like he said, like the Wolfman stepped through. And then the portal closed. And it was like a glow-in-the-dark version of the Wolfman, because he had these glow-in-the-dark Hanna-Barbera stickers on his wall of his childhood home where he lived with his mom. And so, and then he said the portal, another portal opened, and then like Bride of Frankenstein came through and closed, and then opened, and then another one came through. And then he said like the thing that left the Mummy version was what left the dent in the one elevator wall in like a girder, because it was like ramming into like an elevator. He said the Bride of Frankenstein, she could like shoot electricity or something, and she was really nice. It was like talking to him, and she was the one who telepathically made Preston Nichols, when he came back, let Chris Letare out of the chair, like unshackle him. And so Chris Letare, he has a different recall of the Montauk monsters. In his case, it's plural, and how that went down. Other people say it's Junior, and that's the lore. And I'm not sure how to ameliorate that, but so I'm giving what information I have to let the audience, let you all make your own conclusions based on.
I will say that, I did study some of this early on. And what I was told is that you'll perceive what you believe. The energy is still there, but you'll perceive what you believe. So you're all witnessing the same energy, but one seeing one thing and one seeing another. But the energy is the same, and the intention is the same. And
that's possible. It's possible. These could be different timelines, and they're merged. And so both events happened, and then now we're ameliorating that, kind of like a Mandela effect. It's hard to say.
So
Brian Bowden?
we had a previous guest, and I please forgive me for getting her name at this point. It's been a long 4 days, with your family, with my family. But so in theory and in practice, we are only using a small percentage of our abilities as human beings. And this is why the government knows that there's so much more we can do and we're capable of. But we were talking about how you manipulate, and it's like a plasma. So if you put your hands together, you can actually feel the energy field. When you take this energy that's there, it's just a mass, and you have a thought, or your consciousness, strikes something out into the universe, it will start to create it. And this can be used very quickly as a weapon. And that's why these projects were being used. A lot of what you're seeing here and the experimentation, especially with children, was developed via Operation Paperclip, with a lot of the scientists over Nazi Germany who experimented on twins and triplets. Mengele was big on this. And although it's a crime against humanity, there are a lot of benefits humanity has received because of what we've done in the past. I'm not condoning it, by the way. So just imagine if you can take vibrate your frequency and vibrate at the same frequency as concrete or molecules, you can then pass through actual physical concrete. And that's what humans are built for. Brian, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a theory that multiple extraterrestrial races, as God as well, took the best of everything that was created and put them into humans. And that's why they sit there going, you have everything you need, and you idiots are fighting over X, Y, and Z. You have no idea how powerful you are. And this is why there are like reptilians and getting into insectoids that want to control this, because if we don't become aware of who we are and what we are, then we become slaves. But I think that point, with all this information coming out and with the Montauk Project and the sick people that were involved, we're becoming more conscious of it. It's unfortunate these children had to grow up dramatically fast, and they were super smart enough because they tapped into resources that we don't, to create those monsters that would come out and protect them. You know,
Yes.
This is the-
I,
Yeah,
I
so-
just wanna I want to
Uh,
add, before you guys go, I want to add to this for its reality. We had Rima Lebo on our show for quite some time. She was married to Albert Burt Newton Stubblebine III. So here's his pedigree. And he died he died on the day he was born. He was born February 6, 1930. He died February 6, 2017. He was a United States Army Major General whose active duty career spanned 32 years. He began as an armor officer. He was later transferred to intelligence. He is credited with redesigning the U.S. Army intelligence architecture during his time as a commanding general of the U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command, that's INSOCOM, from 1981 to 84, after which he retired from active service. What people don't know about this gentleman, and this is reality, okay? After his retirement, it became widely known that Stubblebine had maintained a keen interest in psychic warfare throughout his service. He sought to develop an army of soldiers with special powers, such as the ability to walk through walls. That would be considered super soldiers. And the movie that is called The Men Who Stare at Goats is predicated upon this general, who was married to Rima Lebo, who's a psychiatrist, and she was on our show for quite some time. So this is valid. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is valid, what we're talking about.
Yep. And Dr. Mengele, per the paperclip, he made it over to the Montauk Project too. Many people remember him as Dr. Green, and they were using code names, and apparently there are multiple Dr. Greens, but Dr. Joseph Mengele was one of those Dr. Greens. Yeah.
Okay.
And then in terms of like the topic of tulpas, thought forms of one person manifesting into a larger, more fleshed out thought form, when masses of people begin to focus on that, that's called an egregore. And part of the concept, and Brian was touching on this too earlier, is that everything that we see here in our material existence right now, it didn't originate here first. It originated first in the higher realms as thoughts, in consciousness, and came through the astral. And after it manifested in the astral, then it manifests in the physical. And this is why a lot of people who they do a lot of magical work or prayer as well, it's in the astral, the physical, the spiritual, and you do work up there and it's granted in the heavens, and then it becomes made manifest down here in the physical. And so there's, with that, as we increase our frequency and vibration individually and collectively down here in the physical, we're able to get higher and higher up to the astral and spiritual realms, and vice versa. And so there's this interplay. And then people who, I guess, study magic, like in energies, these are the types of concepts they're dealing with.
Absolutely. Did anyone else want to comment on Tesla? Because I don't think I'm going to play that video because we want to get to the doctor. Then, Terry Bradley, any comments on Tesla?
Oh, I've had a lot of thoughts to share, but I just want to mention that of all the thoughts that all of us here today have had, this has all come to fruition, basically. Penny, your creativity is amazing. What you do and opening the door for us to be able to share and to, have thoughts that we all have that come to fruition. I just want to say thank you, Penny, for what you do, and David Zublik as well, because this is amazing. This is magic here. It really is.
Thank you, Terry.
Mm.
Most appreciated. Dr. Yu, tell us about your conference because it sounds fascinating.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, fascinating story. The two Brians and the Jew. I'm gonna first tell what's the response from the audience. One thing is after I spoke, and there's one young lady. He attending. He's with the vice president. Brought her together for the meeting, and she mentioned that she said with me while I was talking to another scientist. She said, this is something should be the most important thing in the world. Why this news is not everywhere? So this is one response after listening to that one. Okay, and another, there's two other gentlemen came to me. That's young man, maybe in 30 or 40 years old. So they said that they could not sleep. Actually, 2 days. 2 days in a row, they said we could not fall asleep because their mind just cannot stop thinking and dreaming. And there's the last day, a 3-day event, the last day, and there's another gentleman, maybe in 50 or 60 years old. He said, hey, yesterday, we were sitting in the bar and discuss about your yuan theory, something about. So I just want to make sure your audience hear this one. And if you have time, I'm going to show you, especially we have a new, young, talented, what is the co-host, right? Terry.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Her sisters disappeared.
Her sister disappeared. She was not involved in the Philadelphia experiment, though.
Oh,
oh, she did disappear, but she'll be back.
We're not doing that right now.
We're not doing that right now.
I want to use the opportunity because we have a new host. To me, the first time I met, I want to share the story, see if it makes sense to her, and also reinforce your audience about it, because I do believe this discovery is very important, and this is a fact. This truth is not just a hearsay. So. Terry, I'm gonna, since your sister is no longer here, but I'm just.
She's watching, by the way. She is.
Oh, she's watching. Wonderful.
So she can hear you.
I just use soundboard and hope audience understand. So the reason I made this discovery, by the way, I have an engineering physics degree, PhD, master degree, PhD degree, and through dozens of years. However, my initially trigger. So what motivated me first to study physics and first to try to understand the deeper of the world is this two events. If I think you can see on the screen. One is if you look at on the left on the left hand side, so I have never can conceive electricity is a flow of particles, that's electron, at 70% of the speed of light. So electricity is a particle flow in a solid conducting wire. It never made sense to me why I was in middle school. So this is a trigger me. So that's why I did not go to electrical engineering degree, because it never makes sense to me. I said that cannot be possible. I could not imagine that's possible. And the second thing is called the orbital atomic model. So when I was the first time I studied physics in the middle school, it said every single atom is a perpetual motion machine. It has a constantly orbiting electrons around a center we call the nucleus, constantly. Never stop. I said, why they do that? Where's the energy come from? At that time, I thought that something must be wrong with physics. Somebody, some way, sometime, some people will tell me it's wrong. And you know what happens? That seeded thoughts. And until I get my PhD and working in NASA, still nobody tells me, this concept of completed nonsense. So then I said, okay, so I have to put it in my own hands. One thing is in NASA allow you to have a freedom time, to do some kind of research. So let me see if I can. Okay, So I'm gonna skip these two these two things. I'm gonna just start it with this chart. Okay, I hope Terry or your sister, whatever, if you can understand this one, so you will know. So why the so-called perpetual motion atom is nonsense, and why so-called electricity is the flow of electron is nonsense, complete nonsense. So these are the fundamental flaws. So, but I wanted to convince you why this happens. So first of all, the problem with physics is not starting, as most people thought, to say relativity and quantum mechanics. That's in the beginning of the 20th century. But actually, the problem is much deeper. Is back to over centuries ago. That's in the 19th century. So, but I wanted to use this example to show you what's wrong with physics. Okay, assuming right now physics is talking about there exists of called negative charged particle electron. So that's what electricity is the flow of electron. And when somebody discovered the electron, that's J.J. Thomson in 1897, when he said, "Hey, I discovered that there's a negative charged electron." Right after that, a few years later, somebody discovered a positron and the neutron and all the kind of particles. They all win Nobel Prize. Okay. And I think that's where actually reinforce the misconception and carry the wrong concept forward. So now I'm going to try to say how and why this is wrong. Okay. So assuming this is a negative charged particle and assuming this is a positive charged particle. So I'm going to say what happens, every matter. So particle, positive, negative, they are matter, right? We know the hardest, the hardest matter is a diamond. So everything can be split. There's no physical particle cannot be split because the material has its strength limit. So now let's assuming, so if we have a negative charged electron, what happens if we split them? So we get a 2 half of negative particles. So now my next question will be, can you recombine them to form a original electron, negative charged particle? And the answer would be no, because if you have a 2 negative charged particle, if you want to combine them, what is the fundamental law that the Coulomb's law says? Like charge repel. Like charge repel. You cannot have 2 same charged particle recombine as an original one, which is the same thing happens to the positron. If you say, hey, I break the positron to half, can we recombine them? The answer, the similar, is no, because 2 like charged particle repel. So these are the facts. No problem with that one. But what this implies, if something you cannot be composed by smaller parts, you cannot be made by smaller parts. If you made by smaller parts have the same charge, you cannot recombine, which means this particle cannot exist in the first place. I hope that makes sense to you, because when I talk to the girls, somehow the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory, all led by girls. Okay, I have their. I don't know if I have their. So this is the director.
That there were girls that were around you.
I'm sorry. Nowadays, ladies. Okay, so
No, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, wow. So all females. No,
because they are. Including this panel, okay, ladies just intuition is just 10 times better than men. Okay, but me included, I'm bad at it. So these are directors, and I believe you would agree, because those ladies also agree with me. So I said, I'm so happy they sit. That's the first day we had a reception. They all sit on my table. I don't know why. Okay, they all sit on my table, and then started.
I know why. Did you
I
tell
said
me you
that-
have your own show?
Yes, I told them, I have a called, Agent 11 show. Okay, so they were impressed. So what they said, so I told them, I said, is that possible? If you break a negative charged particle, and then you can recombine, that's no way. But one lady, he actually, he works there. She is not the in charge, but she said magnets, because they work in the magnetic lottery. I said, wow, you actually answered the questions. But I'm assuming if a negative charged particle exists, then you split, you cannot recombine. So that means proton, electron, quarks, none of them can exist. And they agree. Yeah, that makes sense. Because there's one lady who's also a manager. She in charge of all the gas operation. She's an interpreter. She said, yeah, that does not make sense. So actually, she believe, it has to be a magnetic particle. So I ask her, I said, do you know what is the most important property of the magnets? They were so happy about it, because they dealing with day and night, right? With entertaining gas like 2,000 gases like a week or something. They said, oh yeah, so magnets has both north pole and the south pole. I said, you are right, but there's one more important than this one. So why north pole and south pole important? If you split a magnet, you always get both smaller maximum, which means the particle has both north and the south pole. I said, why this is so important? You see, if you split a magnet, bigger magnet split, you still get smaller magnets. You always get the smaller magnets, which both have the north and the south pole. I said, why this is important? Because you can recombine them. You can infinitely divide them, and you can infinitely recombine them. This is the only particle can do that, and that's the particle can make out of the universe. If a proton, neutron, if an electron, proton, you divide, you cannot combine. But somebody would say, hey, can you subdivide a neutral particle? I said, well, that's a good question, right? I saw Terry had a response, right? That's very logical, right? If you have a neutral particle without a charge and without a magnetic field. Okay, I said, yes, you can divide it. So what happens? Can you recombine them? Somebody say, gravity. So I thought, okay, sounds reasonable, right? I said,
yeah, that's something we can all identify with.
Yeah,
gravity.
Wonderful. Then I said, can you get any 2 grain of sand, say from Cocoa Beach? Florida has lots of beaches. The fine grain sand. Can you make a fine grain sand to be a one particle? Can combine them? I said, okay, just let's say you break a sand. Can you recombine them? I said, why you cannot? Because gravity is so weak. Then I asked further, do you know how much weaker gravity compared with the electro force or magnetic force? They normally say, oh, by a lot. I would say 35 order or 35 power less than electromagnetic force. That means if we have an electromagnetic force here, we can combine them, right? And this force is equivalent to what? To 10 to the 35. You can 10 to the 35 zeros and then 1. So that means gravity is too weak. Gravity can never ever combine any 2 particles visibly in physical world. So which means in order for neutral particle split recombine, the only thing, the force has to be electrical or magnetic force. I think Terry bought this one because she resonated with her. You know what that means? That means entire particles proposed in physical standard model, electron, proton, and the neutron, all those particles, none of the particles can exist in this world, because when you split it, you can never recombine. If you cannot combine, you cannot make smaller things becomes atom, becomes molecules, becomes human, or galaxies, star galaxies. So what elements can only exist and only can do that? Magnets. Those ladies are so happy. They said, "Oh, it makes so much sense. We have an open invitation." The director sitting next to me, and the manager who manages operations to do that one. Does it make so much sense? She gave a speech, she talked to all the visitors. Yeah, so they said that you are welcome to come back. Since I'm also NASA government agency, right? So they are national lab. They said you can open you 24/7 if you have a research project, and they even invite me if they have a VIPs. They said they want me to be part of the team. Share the story.
Did you get all of that, Terry?
Yes, and Katie is watching and she loves it. She says, "I have an associate's degree in applied science. I understand."
Oh, no kidding. Oh, wow.
Right? Of course, that's why Katie got kicked out.
Oh,
Right, the experience that you interact with her. I just want to make one more sentence to say, hey, the significance is the so-called electricity is not the flow of electron, it's a vibration. Everything's a vibrate. It's vibrate is a wave motion. So that's why the magnetic field can impact other people, and the human thoughts can communicate with each other. It's all about the communication, create a wave in the magnetic field, in the field, thought field. That's when. Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Yu, so when you're talking about these magnetic things and the waves, and it just hit me, if I have something over here that vibrates similar to something over here, and my positive end is pointing this way and the negative end is pointing that way, they would pull together, but that also creates the vibration and the friction, which continues on. So it would that be like a self-replicating energy field?
Yes.
Is that where we're going with this?
The thought field is a magnetic field made by infinitesimal smaller magnetic particles. So
and because we're the constant attraction and repulsion continues to create the waves that create the energy that we use to exist.
I believe so. That's why when you live on Earth, Earth have a vibration frequency, right? So that vibration frequency exciting. That's a natural frequency in Earth. It's exciting you. So that's why people can sleep better. Something because that's healthy to people. But during the day, you have a lot of Wi-Fi signals, right? That may be out of sync with the natural frequency of human beings. So consuming your energy or even damage your tissue. Okay, Brian.
One question, one comment, and before you started to speak, Joan, towards the tail end of what Dr. Yu was saying, I literally caught there was a frequency being sent. It went into my left ear, 100%. And so I don't know what time frame this is. We're about 58 minutes in. I would listen with headphones, and this just happens a lot when we start. I don't know, Brian, you probably experienced this as much as I have. When you start talking about stuff that they don't want you to talk about, they do stupid things. So just be aware of that. I have crazy hearing, even though my kids say, and their mom, like, I don't, but yeah, I just choose to turn that off. But I hear things that most people don't. And I definitely heard there was something going on to the point where I actually literally had to touch my left ear.
Yeah. Well, some people have what's called selective hearing. Did you call me to dinner?
But some things they don't control. Yeah. Some things they don't control. That's like a mother and a child. Child grows inside the mother. And I know I experience this all the time. I only have one child. And I'll think of him And certainly he'll contact me, or we'll contact each other at the same time. Our thoughts are one, and it's the craziest thing. It is the craziest thing. So they don't have control over everything.
They'd like to.
They would. It's true.
Penny, it's your time.
Is it my time? Well, we still have time, so we're gonna go. We've decided that we're gonna go to. Well, it's actually I'm getting confused with the times. I'm sorry, somebody's texting me. So we're gonna go another half hour. If you guys want to, I can play the Tesla tape, or Dr. Weeping. You want to play the Tesla? Okay, here's the Tesla. Wait, Brian, go ahead. What do you have to say?
I may have to drop out in a few minutes,
Okay.
only because I just may have to drop out.
All right, it's all right.
But I will catch
So-
up whenever I drop out in.
Okay, so we're going to play a little bit of the Y files. Why, Daddy? And this is the Y files explaining about Tesla.
Nikola Tesla believed that he could harness the energy from inside the Earth and transmit that power wirelessly around the world. His early experiments were successful, but his research mysteriously vanished after his death. There is no evidence left of Tesla's wireless power technology. Or is there? For years, we were taught that the Great Pyramid of Giza was a tomb for a king. It wasn't. It had a different purpose. Tesla didn't invent wireless power. It's been here for 5,000 years, and probably a lot longer than that. Okay, why were the pyramids built?
Storage for dead mummies?
Dead mummies?
It's a tautology.
Mainstream Egyptology says that the Great Pyramid of Giza is a tomb built for Khufu, the 4th dynasty Egyptian pharaoh who ruled 4,500 years ago. But the Great Pyramid doesn't have any characteristics of other Egyptian tombs. The Great Pyramid contains no artifacts, no hieroglyphs, and no elaborate wall art. It's been argued that the granite sarcophagus found in the king's chamber once contained Khufu's mummy. There's no evidence that a mummy was ever there. No mummy has ever been found in any pyramid,
Or
ever.
Daddy.
Ancient Egyptians considered their pharaohs gods. The Great Pyramid is a strange structure for a god. Small chambers, narrow shafts, no markings at all. The way the pyramid was built and the materials used to build it suggest it had a different purpose. The sides of the pyramid are aligned with the compass with such accuracy that only modern engineering can match it. The Great Pyramid is a mountain made of 2.5 million blocks of stone weighing 6 million tons, piled 481 feet high. Its footprint is over 13 acres. To align this construction within 1/15th of a degree of true north is impossible precision. The base of the Great Pyramid is leveled to within 3/4 of an inch. The only way to do this with modern structures is to use lasers. Even though the sides of the pyramid are over 755 feet long, made of stone blocks weighing between 2 and 40 tons each side is within 2 inches of any other. That's 99.98% accurate. Fun fact, the pyramid doesn't have 4 sides. It actually has 8. Each side is slightly concave that you can only really see from directly above, or when the pyramid casts shadows during the equinoxes. And yes, those angles too are perfect. Whoever built the pyramids somehow knew the size of the Earth. If you take the height of the pyramid and multiply it by 43,200, you get 3,938.685 miles, which is within 11 miles of the polar radius of the planet. That's 99.7% accurate. If you take the perimeter of the base of the pyramid and multiply that by 43,200, you get 24,734.94 miles. That's the Earth's circumference at the equator within 99.3% accuracy. We know that the ancients were obsessed with equinoxes, when the day and the night are the same lengths. The length of the day and night on an equinox is 43,200 seconds. Now, skeptics will say this relationship between 43,200 and the size of the Earth is forced. They say, well, the planet is different sizes in different places, so this is just a coincidence.
No, is this one of those episodes where we make the skeptics look like idiots?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, good. I love those.
Don't gloat.
Oh, the skeptics!
Most of the Great Pyramid is constructed of nummulite limestone, the reddish-brown blocks that we see today. This rock is found close to the site and is abundant. But the builders of the pyramid also used unusual materials not found locally. The exterior of the pyramid was once covered in casing stones made of bright white limestone. They were polished smooth and fit together so tightly that no seams were visible. These casing stones were cut and shipped from a quarry in Tura, almost 500 miles away. That's like carrying thousands of 10-ton stone blocks the length of the entire state of Florida. They must have been special. Unlike the limestone cut locally, Tura limestone lacks magnesium. This makes it an excellent insulator. Limestone can carry an electrical current. Tura limestone can't. Interior chambers were built with a rare type of granite called rose granite, also brought from hundreds of miles away. This granite has a high concentration of silicon dioxide, also known as quartz. When quartz is compressed or even just moved, it creates a charge called piezoelectricity. One face of the quartz will have a positive charge, the other will have a negative charge. Connect the two faces together and you have an electrical circuit. Because of this property, quartz is used in all kinds of modern devices like watches, clocks, TVs, GPS units, and on and on. To charge a watch that uses quartz, all you have to do is shake it. And if you've ever used a barbecue lighter, the voltage is created by a quartz crystal. The king and queen's chambers were built with granite that is 85% quartz. The tunnels and passageways are also lined with quartz-rich granite. If pressure was applied to all this granite, it would generate a tremendous amount of electricity, turning the pyramid into a giant power plant. And there's proof that this is exactly what happened. The idea that the Great Pyramid was a power plant is not new. It was first proposed in the 1970s. It was and is considered a fringe theory.
Ooh, those are my favorite kind of theories.
I know.
The fringier the better. Fringier? Fringier. No, that doesn't sound right. What's your problem?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is the show interrupting your train of thought?
Sarcasm, nice.
Well, what do you expect? I'm trying to set up the show here, and it's not easy to do when you're jumping in with comments. As more and more discoveries were made over the years, more evidence emerged that the Great Pyramid as a power plant wasn't fringe science, but actual science. One of the most compelling cases comes from Christopher Dunn. He believes the process starts in the subterranean chamber. Below the pyramid are aquifers. As water moves through the underground cavities, sound waves are created. The frequency of these waves resonate with the Earth's natural vibration. As those waves move up through the pyramid, a process is used to magnify, focus, and convert the sound into energy. The Queen's Chamber was used for a chemical reaction that created hydrogen, and there's substantial proof of this. There are two interior shafts that lead to the Queen's Chamber. The northern shaft has traces of hydrochloric acid. The southern has traces of hydrated zinc chloride. Combining these two chemicals creates a volatile reaction that generates hydrogen, a lot of hydrogen. This hydrogen gas would flow from the Queen's Chamber through the horizontal passage and into the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery is also made of granite. As the hydrogen gas builds up, the pressure compresses the granite, creating electricity. This electricity also ionizes the air, increasing conductivity. Within the Grand Gallery were 27 or 28 pairs of resonators that would vibrate and emit sound. The hydrogen atoms would organize themselves into waves in sympathy with the sound waves of the gallery. These sound waves further excite the stone, creating even more electricity.
Oh, so let me get this straight. You stick the shafts into the Queen's Chamber, which gets the stones excited?
That's right, but somehow when you say it, it sounds dirty.
I'm a naughty, naughty fish.
Acoustic engineers have determined the gallery resonates at 440 hertz and naturally emits an F-sharp chord. 440 hertz and the F-sharp chord have been connected to a lot of woo-woo ideas, but there's a reason for that. It's considered a sound that resonates in harmony with the earth. The builders of the pyramid knew this. Longtime Mac users will recognize this sacred chord. At the top of the gallery is a small shaft leading to the King's Chamber. The opening is 8.4 by 4.8 inches. This is the perfect size for hydrogen microwaves to pass into the King's Chamber, which also resonates at 440 hertz and F-sharp. Above the King's Chamber are 5 layers of granite beams, stacked and separated by air gaps. This is called the relieving chamber because it was believed that this interior structure relieved the weight of the pyramid. That's not what it does. The beams are smooth on 3 sides, but rough cut on the top. Christopher Dunn believes the reason for the rough cut is this is how the beams were tuned. The builders could vibrate the granite beams and slowly chip away at the stone until they resonated with an F-sharp chord, which they do. The King's Chamber is what's known as a Helmholtz resonator. When you blow air across the top of a bottle and create sound, that's a Helmholtz resonator. Change the volume of liquid in the bottle, or change the volume of stone within the chamber, you change the pitch. The entire complex is a giant musical instrument. Now, some skeptics reluctantly agree that the Great Pyramid has musical properties, but for skeptics to consider the pyramid as a power plant, they would need evidence to show that a giant stone pyramid would respond to electromagnetic energy. There was no evidence of that until 2018.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. I see you have something set up for us, Doctor. And we can't hear you.
Thank you for reminding me. You know exactly what's happening. Okay. I try to show one principle. They said called a piezoelectrical. That's what is the quartz. Something like a granite. They said you compress them, you generate electricity, right? I wanted to show how this physical principle, how that works. All the electricity was generated through the relative motion. I don't know if you can see. I have a rotating wheel and the coil and the magnetic field. So all the electricity created through the motion of a conducting material, generated inside of basically you have a moving magnetic field. So that's why you see. I hope you can.
Look at that.
You can see the light,
That
right?
lights up.
Yeah, the lights up. So that's how electricity is generated. You can just compress called piezo this material, just a crystal material. Then you generate the electrical signal. I just mentioned, because all the particles in the crystalline material are magnetic particles. What happens is when you compress them, you create a vibration. That's created electrical moving magnetic field. So that's why you can sense the signal. I just want to mention about that one. So that's why they said, hey, and also they mentioned about the frequency. Frequency does depend on the volume, the size, the cave volume. So they say different level of the cavity has a different volume, right? Of course, you generate different music notes. That's everything. I just feels like these are all scientifically true. You can generate the sound, different music notes, and why we many measurement instrument is you use crystal as things. You apply pressure, you deform them, right? When you deform them, actually the inside is vibrating. Okay, so that's generate a moving magnetic field. That's electric field. That's electrical signal. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes me
we
think
can,
of the movie. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll go first. As a singer, there are singers that can shatter glass. Okay. Do you remember? Is it live or is it Memorex? I think it was Ella Fitzgerald was one of my mentors because I started out singing jazz. Who was able to break a glass. It was on a commercial. You could see with the frequency of her voice, she could break glass. Now, Terry Bradley, also a singer. Terry.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it reminds me, I think it's the movie Encounters of the Third Kind, where the spaceship had the music, the sound, the resonance that would attract and communicate was through sound. Is that right, Brian? Would you remember?
Yes, it's right. Yeah, I just sang it to you. Do, 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 do.
There you go. That's right. That's what it makes me think of.
That was
they-
so
ready?
John?
Movie makers that have specific information they've been given, obviously.
Yes, they do.
It's just because music and math would be considered to be interchangeable, and then so be a good universal language.
Yeah, it's binary code.
Oh.
A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. John?
So just to put all of this together, in Sacramento, a building was built, we call the ziggurat.
Oh, yeah.
And it was built by the money store when all the money people were making a lot, lending. And then they went bankrupt, and now it's DGS. But you go, Department of General Services, owned by the state. But you go in the center of that building, and you can have a quiet conversation with another person, and the person on the top floor will hear every word.
Wow.
It is the
Interesting.
resonance in that building was built so that would happen, so that speaking in one little area here, it's heard like you're standing next to everyone throughout the building. And I think this is when you're talking about the way those pyramids were built in Egypt. It's that on steroids, because I don't know that we could afford to redo an actual pyramid, but you can still get the resonance in the building by building the pyramid with our technology, so that the sound resonance that Terry and Penny are talking about is actually real. And they do have singers there that will come and perform, because everyone has a front row seat to the sound, no matter where you are.
Wow.
Neat.
That's amazing. I mean, I know that I used to record. I recorded in a lot of places, studios, whatever. But when I was recording at home, they put me in the bathroom because the bathroom is a reverberation chamber, just like in some hallways. So it's a natural acoustic reverberation, which then elaborates upon your own voice, as opposed to artificial reverb. And, so I think that's a little bit about what you're talking about. We have about 15 more minutes. Any final comments, Doctor?
Oh, yes. I want to comment on this. Sound, a voice can shatter the glass, a wine glass. I do have the video, but I'm not going to search that video.
Okay.
Because of resonance. And this kind of scientific experiment has been performed on live stage. I also have that one. So somebody high voice and with a glass in the middle and so I believe it's certain sound. You probably know not every sound you can make the shatter, right? You have to have a certain high pitch, reach to resonance frequency. You can shatter the glass, and this has been demonstrated by the opera singer or scientific evidence. I just say, hey, that's the miracle of a resonance. Yes, vibration. Yeah.
Wow. It's great.
Oh, Gesundheit. You must have been, Penny turned her mic off, but we would have gotten a demonstration. Resonance. But
well,
go ahead.
Joan, final comments? What final comments?
I think we're really just kind of scratching the surface with this, because next time, one of the things that was covered is the outer shell, that the stone did not carry an electromagnetic charge. It was an insulator. So you don't have electromagnetic charge going through it. And then you have other substances where all you have to do is vibrate it and it will give off a charge. So I would love to hear next time how that fits into the theory of the Uon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And this is always fascinating with you, Dr. Yu. So I enjoy this.
You're one of the smartest one. I always pick on you because I know you ask great questions and you understand it.
Thank you.
Yes. And Brian, you also studied physics, did you not?
Oh, Brian.
Biochemistry.
Okay.
Biochemistry.
Another brainiac. We have brainiacs in this group. I did not study. I'm not an astrophysicist.
Yeah, it's just a bachelor's in biochemistry. Yeah,
it is. But you're a brainiac.
Brain.
So, do you have any final comments, Brian?
You know, I'm glad that you showed that Y-Files clip
Beautiful.
on the pyramids, because I'd never seen that level of detail. I mean, I'm told from all my sources that it's some kind of energy resonator, but to see hydrogen gas being generated to then funnel up through the pyramid to create resonance according to an F sharp tune, yeah, that's a lot more
Yeah,
detailed
that
than
shocked me.
wow.
The Mac tone, that shocked me.
hmm The tones, yeah, they're
Yes.
it makes a lot of sense, and then the concept of resonant frequency vibration, resonant tuning, and
And
we have a lot of
go ahead.
we have a lot of friends in the community who are traveling to places like Latin America, Mexico, especially to dig up these various stone artifacts, which are showing energetic properties. Where some of them are like little lights. They have little light emitters built into them, but they're 10 to 20,000 years old. And so it's fascinating to see what's old is becoming new again.
Yeah, next time we'll play a little bit more regarding Tesla, but I did want to bring this in because I was downloading it. Like suicide.com.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's a high pitch. That's a pitch reaching to resonance frequency.
Not sure if that was real or not. Look a little
I wasn't
AI.
sure if that was. Yeah, look, that might have been AI.
Oh, that's a
AIO.
It was the way the glass shattered. It looked AI.
Right. I don't think it was high enough.
Well,
Yeah.
it didn't shatter. It broke in chunks, but it didn't
Right.
look right.
I'll find Ella Fitzgerald for next time because it's a lot higher than that frequency that breaks the glass. I bet you Mariah Carey could probably break the glass because she hits these dolphin notes, which are very, very high.
When they do, it also, you can feel it in your ears. It's like,
Yes, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah.
my eardrums.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're at the bottom almost of the hour. Terry Bradley, can you tell people where they can find you?
Yes, I just want to mention I got a text from Katie and David, her husband, I guess, and her son, my brother-in-law and nephew, and Brad, my nephew, and Katie said that they were all watching and that they all understand and they want to thank Dr. Yu.
Oh my goodness.
Aw.
They want to thank
Nice.
Dr. Yu. They're all musicians, by the way, so that's they appreciate it. Yeah, you can find me on Awake Nation, which is broadcast on X, Rumble, and YouTube at David Zublick. Also, Life with Joan and Agent X11, like we are here. And also the Trauma Triage team and X at KBT 143.
Excellent. And thank you so very much for joining us. Katie just sent me Ella Fitzgerald. So, Joan, tell people where they can find you.
well, you can find me here. Oh, you can find me here on Agent X11. You can find me on the Wake Nation Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can also find me on Trauma Triage on Wednesdays. And next Tuesday on Life with Joan, we are going to have someone who has a lifelong experiencer telling his story. Maybe this is the second time that he's ever told it on air. And so he's a little nervous, but it's a fascinating story of his experiences, not only with the extraterrestrial, but spiritual as well. And so that is going to be at 9 o'clock Pacific time on the West Coast, 12 on the East Coast on next Tuesday. And you can also find me on X, Joan Renee 27.
Excellent. And tell us a little bit about the expo that you're going to.
Oh, it's the UFO Con 2026. It's in California. And it's also about about UFOs, about experiencers. Jesse Beltran, the one that traces nanotech and the Havana syndrome and talks about how people are electronically being stalked. He'll be there. Rima, that you mentioned earlier, who's been on this show, she will be there with her stubble bomb, you know, the men who stare at goats person. They'll be there. Terry Lovelace, incident at Devil's Den where he was abducted. And there's going to be many, many more. They're going to have speakers from Friday to Sunday, including Paul Hynek. AJ Hynek's son will be talking about his experiences that he had, stories from his father as well, and the making of Project Bluebeam, which he and his brothers were advisors to. And so that's where I'll be this weekend. So
Excellent. Brian Singh, tell people about yourself, about your organization, where they can find you. And aren't you going to an expo too soon?
Yeah, actually, I'm supposed to be there tomorrow for this weekend. Alienevent.com at the LA Cinesta LAX. It's part of an event by 5D Events led by David Said Farman, and I'll be speaking on organizing in the full disclosure movement and where we are today, moving forward. And so, yeah, I have to get my butt down to Southern California very soon. And that can be found at alienevent.com.
And where can they find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Generally, still, it's on Facebook these days. Add my nickname Solar Bee in the search bar with Brian Sang, and I'll pop up. And I'm always sharing the latest and greatest. And I've got some projects, but they're still under wraps, but soon to be announced.
Excellent. Dr. Weeping You, where can people find you? Dr. You?
Thank you. Number one, you can find me from this show, 18 to 11, from 12 to 1:30, every other Thursday. Okay. Yeah. Another way is you can find me from X platform. So with handle called @RealDrU. @RealDryu. There's some of my comments or some of my work you can find from that website.
Excellent. And being the singer that I am, this was actually sent to me by Katie because I was looking for it. I guess I was right. It was Ella Fitzgerald. Is it live or is it Memorex?
Can the amplified voice of Ella Fitzgerald shatter this glass? Believe it. Ella Fitzgerald on Memorex cassette tape with MRX2 oxide. Can Memorex shatter the glass? Now we ask, is it live or is it Memorex?
Is it live or is it Memorex? And when I started learning to sing, I sang, the mentors that I had were from, old school, Ella Fitzgerald, Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland. I sang a lot of show songs, but then over the 55 years that I sang pretty much everything because I was a working musician. So we sang everything from disco to R&B to, I think the only thing that I didn't sing was acid rock because I never did acid. So it didn't appeal to me, but I sang pretty much everything else. So I want to thank you all for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. Please join us again for Brian Singh Presents on Agent X11. We have Dr. Weeping You every other week, and that's Dr. U's Universe. And this has just been a wonderful, wonderful and informative show. I really enjoyed this particular edition. And I thank you all for joining us. If you would like to follow us, please do so. Please subscribe, like and subscribe, but share. That's very important that you share this information. That's how we get the information out there. You can find me on X at Shepherd Out if you'd like to be a guest on Agent X11 or on the Awake Nation News or on the Awake Nation or on the Trauma Triage Team or on David Zubik's show, which is the Damn Straight Show. or on any of the shows that we do. And Friday coming up, we're going to do 3 different shows. And we're going to have an individual that we had on our show today. Her name is Marzi. And Marzi she was arrested for passing out Bibles in Iran. And she was thrown into jail. She was sentenced to hanging. And so she's going to be our 2 o'clock guest tomorrow on Agent X11. But, don't forget to join us for the Awake Nation. And that's tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. We do the Awake Nation News, and that's on the David Zublik channel, also on the Awake Nation. On the Agent X11 channel. And then join us for Awake Nation, which is from 8 to 10, and that's Eastern time. And we are live every show. Then that follows by the Damn Straight Show. And then I do 3 Agent X11. So please join us again. And thank you again for being, wonderful people that that your objective is to learn and not to just listen to what anybody says. I often say, don't believe anything I say. Just please research everything. That's what it's about. So thank you again. We are out of time, so we are out of here. Shepherd out.
Solar be out.
Dr. You out.
Bradley out.
Goodbye for now from Agent X11, Hollywood dark journalist, a shining light in this darkened world. And don't forget to watch the Awake Nation News 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern on the David Zublik channel on Rumble, followed by our main show, David Zublik's Awake Nation, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.